All right, this is part B of the biology reading guide. This section discusses scientific names and how they come from classification. So let's get to reading. Scientific names come from classification. The scientific name for a house cat is Felis catus. The name comes from the genus Felis and the species Catus. Notice that the genus is always capitalized and the species is not. Both the genus and species are in italics. A wolf's scientific name is Canis lupus. The name includes the genus Canis and species Lupus. The scientific name for humans is Homo sapiens. What are the genus and species to which humans belong? Have you ever called a plant or an animal by its scientific name? You have, but you may not have realized it. The table below shows a list of some living things that you know about. It gives a list of their scientific names. You probably have used parts of these scientific names many times. So in the table, we have scientific names of some plants and animals. The scientific name is on the left, and the name you probably use is on the right. So here we have Pinus sylvestris, which is the Scotch pine, Rosa carolina, which is a rose, Elephas maximus, which is the Asian elephant, gorilla, which is a gorilla, and Giraffa camelopardalis, which is a giraffe. Why scientific names are used. You call a robin, seal, apple tree, and house cat by their common names. Common names are names used in everyday language. Scientists prefer to use scientific names. There are several reasons for using scientific names instead of common names. One, no mistake can be made about which living thing is being described. That's because two different living things don't have the same scientific name. Two different living things, however, may have the same common name. For example, hawk is the common name for several kinds of birds. Only one kind of hawk, however, is named Buedo jamenensis. This hawk has broad wings and a reddish tail. You may know it as the red-tailed hawk. 2. Scientific names seldom change. 3. Scientific names are written in the same language around the world. Using scientific names allows scientists to communicate no matter what their everyday language is. The language in which scientific names are written is Latin. Latin is used because it does not change. Kingdoms. 5 or 6, depends on who you talk to. Remember that early scientists grouped living things into two kingdoms, plant and animal. As scientists learned about more living things, they found that some living things did not fit into either kingdom. A new system of classification was needed to group all the living things being discovered. Today, most scientists use the 6-kingdom system. There are 6 kingdoms with the characteristics of those kingdoms. 1. Kingdom Archaebacteria. Very simple one-celled organisms that are prokaryotes. That means they don't have a nucleus. They are all producers and they live in very weird places like your intestine, at the bottom of the ocean, in very salty environments like the Great Salt Lake. They have a cell wall and a little circular piece of DNA. An example of an archaebacteria is a methanogen. 2. Kingdom Eubacteria. Very simple single cells that are prokaryotes. They can be producers or consumers. They have a cell wall and a little circular piece of DNA like the archaebacteria. They do not live in weird places. An example from this kingdom is Streptococcus. They are the bacteria that cause strep throat. 3. Kingdom Protista. This is the catch-all kingdom. It contains the organisms that don't fit into the other kingdoms. All members of the Protista kingdom are eukaryotes. That means they have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles, which we'll learn about later this year. They can be microscopic or meters long. They can be producers or consumers. They can be single-celled or multi-celled. None of them have a cell wall. A couple examples from the protist kingdom is a paramecium, which is pictured to the right, and seaweed. 4. Kingdom fungi are all eukaryotes. They have cell walls and are all consumers. They're actually decomposers, so they break down dead items. Most of them are multicellular, but a few are single-celled. An example from this kingdom is a mushroom. 5 is kingdom Plantae. All are eukaryotes. They have cell walls and are producers. They are all multicellular. No plants are able to move from place to place by themselves. An example is a fern plant. 6, kingdom Animalia. All are eukaryotes. They don't have cell walls. They are all consumers and multicellular. They have complex body organization by having tissues and organ systems. These organisms are able to move from place to place at some time in their lives. You are an example of the animal kingdom. Scientists who still use the 5-kingdom system put all of the bacteria in one kingdom and call it the Monera kingdom. So instead of having archaebacteria and eubacteria, they put those archaebacteria and eubacteria into just one kingdom called Monera. All right, so here is your second section of answers to question. Number 1 says name 3 characteristics of the protist kingdom, 1, A, B, and C. 2, if you found a new species, what are 2 pieces of information you need to know about it to put it in the correct kingdom? So that's answers A and B. 3, name 3 characteristics of the fungi kingdom, A, B, and C. 4, how is the 5-kingdom system different from the 6-kingdom system besides the 6-kingdom system has one more kingdom? So in this question, it's asking you, like, what is the difference between them? There's a different kingdom name from the 5-kingdom system than the 6-kingdom system. So what was that different kingdom name? Question number 5, name 3 characteristics of the eubacteria kingdom. 6, if 2 organisms are in the same family, what other levels of classification do they have in common? So there are 4 other levels of classification that they have in common if they're in the same family. You may have to refer to Reading Guide A to find the answer to this. 7, list the 7 levels of classification from the levels that has the most members to the level that has the fewest members. So I'll give you a hint. A should be kingdom. 8, name 3 characteristics of the animal kingdom. 9, name 3 characteristics of the plant kingdom. And 10, name the 6 kingdoms of life. Again, with this section, if it does not have a letter by it as an A, B, C, if the questions do not have a letter by it, like question number 4, then I would like for you to answer that in complete sentences. All right, so you guys can get to work on this one. Remember, you may need to use Reading Guide A to help you answer some of the questions on this section as well.